Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. General Hospital. General Hospital, Michael Corinthos fall from grace. The Corinthos name carried weight in Port Charles. It was synonymous with power, loyalty, and danger. Michael Corinthos had always sought to distance himself from his father Sonny's criminal world, but fate had a cruel way of pulling him back in. Michael's life was already in turmoil after learning of his wife Willow Tate's betrayal with his uncle Drew Quartermain. But as he navigated his marital woes, an even darker secret loomed, a secret that could cost him everything. The aftermath of betrayal. Michael had replayed the surveillance footage of Willow and Drew's intimate moment in the Quartermain nursery more times than he cared to admit. Every time, the anger and betrayal surged anew. He had confronted Willow about the kiss, hoping, naively, that she would come clean about the extent of her infidelity. But she hadn't. She clung to her silence, her eyes darting nervously as she insisted it was just a moment of weakness. What Willow didn't know was that Michael had secrets of his own. Weeks earlier, when he had first suspected something between Drew and Willow, he had found solace in the arms of Sasha Corbin, his ex-girlfriend. Sasha was still grieving the loss of her child and struggling with her sobriety, but in that moment, she was a safe harbor in Michael's storm. They had spent the night together, but Michael had kept that night buried deep. After all, what right did he have to cast stones when he was no saint himself? Yet neither infidelity nor heartbreak compared to the burden Michael now carried. The night of John Cates' murder. The memory of that fateful night haunted Michael. Sonny Corinthos had been in a heated confrontation with FBI agent John Cates, a man determined to dismantle Sonny's empire. Cates had pushed too hard, crossed too many lines, and Sonny had snapped. Michael had arrived at the scene moments after the gunshots rang out. The sight of Cates' lifeless body and Sonny standing over him with a smoking gun would forever be etched into Michael's mind. "Go," Michael had urged his father, his voice shaking but resolute. "I'll handle this." Sonny had hesitated, his usually unflappable demeanor cracked with guilt. "Find Mom," Michael had added, knowing Carly would serve as Sonny's alibi. "I'll take care of it." And so he did. Michael had wiped the scene meticulously, removing the bullet casings, erasing Sonny's fingerprints, and ensuring there was no trace of his father. Then, he had called the police, pretending to be a concerned citizen who had stumbled upon the scene. For weeks, Michael thought he had succeeded. The cops were circling Sonny, as expected, but without evidence, the investigation stalled. Michael felt he had done his duty, protecting his father while ensuring his own family remained intact. But secrets had a way of surfacing. The investigation heats up. Detective Dante Falconeri, Sonny's estranged son and Michael's half-brother, was the lead investigator on the case. Dante had his suspicions about Sonny's involvement, but a new piece of evidence shifted his focus. A grainy surveillance video from a nearby traffic camera surfaced, showing a figure unmistakably Michael arriving at the scene moments after the murder. The footage didn't show Sonny pulling the trigger, but it raised questions about Michael's role. Dante confronted Michael at the Quartermain mansion. "What were you doing at the docks that night?" Dante's voice was sharp, his eyes narrowed. Michael's heart pounded, but he maintained his composure. "I got a call about a disturbance," Michael lied. "When I arrived, Cates was already dead. I called the cops like any responsible citizen would." Dante didn't buy it. "You expect me to believe that?" he shot back. "You're lying, Michael. I can see it all over your face." Michael stood firm, but he knew the walls were closing in. A witness comes forward. Unbeknownst to Michael, someone had seen him that night. Dex Heller, one of Sonny's newest recruits, had been lurking in the shadows, watching the scene unfold. Dex was torn. On one hand, he owed loyalty to Sonny, on the other, he didn't want to be implicated in something that could bring down the Corinthos family. Eventually, Dex decided to come forward anonymously. He provided enough detail to confirm Michael's involvement in the cover-up without implicating Sonny. When the police received Dex's tip, it was the break they needed. A warrant was issued for Michael's arrest. The arrest. Michael was at home with Wiley and Amelia when the police arrived. Willow had taken the kids upstairs when the knock at the door came. "Michael Corinthos, you're under arrest for obstruction of justice and tampering with evidence in the murder of John Cates," Dante said, his voice heavy with regret. Michael didn't resist. He knew this moment was inevitable. As he was cuffed and led out of the house, he caught a glimpse of Willow at the top of the stairs, her face pale and stricken. The trial and its fallout. The trial was a media circus. Michael's spotless public image was shattered as the prosecution painted him as a willing accomplice to his father's crimes. Willow attended every day, but their interactions were strained. Sasha came forward as a character witness, speaking to Michael's integrity and his love for his family. But the prosecution countered with the surveillance footage and Dex's testimony, leaving little room for doubt. In a dramatic moment, Michael refused a plea deal that would have reduced his sentence in exchange for testifying against Sonny. "I won't betray my father," Michael said firmly in court, earning Sonny's silent nod of approval from the gallery. The jury found Michael guilty, and he was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Life in prison. Prison changed Michael. The once idealistic young man became hardened, his experiences behind bars stripping away his innocence. He remained focused on one goal: protecting his family, even from a distance. Willow visited with the kids, but their relationship was strained beyond repair. She eventually filed for divorce, leaving Michael to grapple with the loss of his family on top of his freedom. A new beginning. Michael's time in prison was not without its silver linings. He formed unlikely alliances and learned to navigate the dangerous world behind bars. His release, 4 years later, was a moment of triumph but also uncertainty. As Michael stepped out of the prison gates, he was met by Sonny, who waited with open arms. "You did good, kid," Sonny said, his voice filled with pride. But Michael wasn't sure he believed him. He had sacrificed everything for his father's freedom, and now he had to figure out who he was outside the shadow of Sonny Corinthos. The road ahead. Michael's return to Port Charles was fraught with challenges. Willow had moved on, Drew was a constant reminder of his betrayal, and the Corinthos empire was as dangerous as ever. But Michael was no longer the same man who had left. Stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever, Michael vowed to reclaim his life on his terms. The story of Michael Corinthos was far from over. Port Charles had a way of pulling people back into its web of secrets and lies, and Michael was ready to face whatever came next.